man, like 5-6 years ago, I became homeless.
Cool,
it was
man.
it was a crazy situation where
That's fucking wild.
at the exact same time that my landlord died and his kids took over and like raised rent, my child support went up because the baby mama lost her job.
Ooh.
And it was just like a whirlwind of shit that I was just like, well, I could either keep my place but not have any transportation to go see my kid, or I can just live in my car and see my kid all the time. So I chose that.
Save a lot of money, I'm sure.
No, it's expensive as fuck to be homeless.
Really?
Oh, hell yeah.
I was looking
dude.
forward to it because I was almost...
You have to eat out all the time. You have to.
You can't really cook. It's a pain in the ass. You're always paying tickets because it's illegal to sleep in your car. Like,
But there's
Yeah.
no address to send the tickets to.
yeah, and then it piles up. You get late fees. You get arrested for it.
You didn't get a P.O. box?
I had one for a while, but then I stopped paying it because the rent on that went up.
Jesus Christ.
How much is it to have a PO box?
When I got it,
It's
it was like
expensive to do.
$100 for 6 months.
Oh.
And then when I went to renew, it was like $320.
God
What
damn.
the fuck?
Yeah, so then I just used my homie's address. But it was kind of cool because when I was using his address, I was like off the grid. You know, if you tried to like look me up, you couldn't find me. It was awesome. My credit reset during that time. Like everything that I used to have on my credit wiped off. It was awesome. I have fucking great credit now.
What did you do when your kid was with you?
Oh, so I was only able to really like see her like during the day, you know, so I'd have to drop her off at night. And so we just, like every other, you know, broken household, a lot of zoo visits. Hey kid, we're going to the zoo again. To see these sad fucking giraffes, the sad fucking hippo that they have, the sad lion that's like 73 years old.
And just laying down on the sun, like
Laying in the sun, shriveling away because he has
The
no
one
will
crocodile
to live.
that's been there since.
Yeah.
Like, if anyone's like recently divorced or broken up, take your kid to the fucking zoo because that'll let them know what.
Earlier this year or last year, no, like summertime, I lost my job and I had 2 weeks to leave my place.
Oh shit!
So I kind of, my whole, I used to look at like homeless encampments on the side of the freeway and think, fuck, man, that could be me one day,
Yeah, yeah.
During that time when I was looking for new places to live and looking for work, that could be me when they started like to look more like, fuck, man, that's a lot cheaper than a lot of these options out here now.
Almost a reality.
That's pretty true though, and I mean it's crazy because like I did it for 2 years and I mean I don't recommend anyone do it. It was terrible.
Yeah.
My health took a shit. Like my feet were just getting swollen every morning for no fucking reason, and I tell my doctor about it and they're just like,
You still saw your doctor?
yeah, I mean, I had a full-time job. I had, health insurance and shit. And I go to my doctor. I was like, dude, why are my feet? And he's just like, well, you're
Sitting
sleeping
down.
outdoors every night, right? He's like, yeah. He's like, don't do that.
Sleeping outdoors?
Yeah, just, be warm.
Oh, because you're
Somewhere.
cold?
Yeah, just because I'm cold and I'm like sleeping at a weird angle.
Circulation.
Because like the streets aren't exactly level.
Yeah.
And it's weird because like I had my car, but it was like I've been pulled out of my car at night because it's illegal to sleep in your car in San Francisco. And when the cop knocks on your window to give you a $78 ticket, they're just like, you can't sleep in your car. I can't let you sleep in your car.
Really?
And I'm like,
What's the point of that?
I'm like, what the fuck do you want me to do? He's like, you can sleep right here on the sidewalk, but you can't sleep in your car. or
That's
we're gonna
fucked up.
What is it called? Vagabond laws or some
That's so
shit?
something
wrong.
like that, yeah.
It's like old school laws where it was just to keep the streets clean, some shit like that.
I mean,
I'd rather have a body on it than a car, I
if
guess.
you look at the streets of San Francisco, it didn't work.
especially today.
Yeah. I mean, I can take you on a tour of all of the streets. It would be easier to show you all the streets that I haven't shit on than
That's so gross. I've stepped in human shit before. In San
I mean,
Francisco. It's so
I would
disgusting.
stay. There was a spot by the beach, by Ocean Beach, and like there's like a middle divider that didn't have any no parking signs or anything. And at the peak of like,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah. And so at the peak of like Uber and Lyft in the city, all the Uber and Lyft drivers would just go and park there, sleep for a couple hours, and then
Yep.
start their 5 a.m. shift or whatever. And I would park there. I'd get off at work at like 11:30, and I would just go park there, smoke a blunt, fall asleep, and I would get hassled the least there. But there's some days where you wake up at 5 a.m. and have to take a fat shit. Like, your brain is telling you, like, you got 3 minutes to get somewhere to dump this out of you. Like, it's coming.
Wet wipes and sanitizer?
No, I would just...
ocean water?
I would literally go sit on the edge of, like, the wall, the retaining wall. And just, like, scoot over until my asshole's, like, over the side and just take a fat old shit. And then get ready for the day. Trying to keep my cheeks spread so it didn't touch the sides or anything.
How did you honestly like wipe yourself and wash your hands?
So
that's what I'm so
smell like shit after that.
And where did you take a shower?
Afterwards, I would go to the gym. I had 24-hour fitness.
Okay, so you were able.
And so for a while, I was using the one.
He was homeless, but he had dignity, bro.
You could have took a shit in the gym.
Why'd you?
Barely.
Yeah,
Not when you have to.
It's
like
a 15-minute drive from where I slept, and it was like I gotta go now.
Gotcha.
Right now, that didn't happen that often, but it was often enough where I
You knew how to take a shit in public.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And get away with it.
I mean, I didn't really care about getting. If someone saw it, like, I didn't care.
Hey guys, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Hey.
it's San Francisco, so like, no one gave a fuck.
Do you hear what they're serving at the soup kitchen today?
Brown bomber.
Yeah.
So wait, so what was the process though? Did you go wash your hands?
I had a whole routine. Like, I'd get up.
Don't they have bathrooms there?
Well, so here's the thing: is all of the public national park bathrooms don't open until about 7.
7.
If you're lucky, they get there early at 6:30.
That's true.
So if I had a shit before that,
And 9
time,
p.m. is a cutoff, or 7 p.m. right?
It used to be 10 p.m., but I think it's earlier.
Yeah.
Now. All the homeless people are fucking it up for all the OG homeless people. But
The war of the homeless.
yeah, war of the homeless, man.
New school, no school.
But yeah, I had a whole routine. I would wake up if I didn't have to shit on the beach. I would wake up, go to the gym, shower in front of 30 naked, ancient, old Chinese men. Get ready, go to work, and work all day. Get off.
Work all day, and then after a long day of work, man, I just want to lay in my bed.
Yeah.
How was the equivalent of that for you being homeless in your tent? Do you have a tent?
No, never stayed in a tent. I mostly just stayed in my car, other than a couple times I slept outside. But I had like a little camping mattress and a sleeping bag and blankets and shit. But yeah, I would just get off, get in my car, go, drive to the beach, and just recline my seat, and I'm in bed. Boom, done. Yeah. Sometimes I'd fall asleep like at the beach, like at the beach parking lot. Wake up with a $165 ticket and just be like, fuck. Throw it out the window and go to my parking space.
What happened? Oh, is that what you said? Like you would get arrested because you wouldn't be paying them?
You don't get arrested for not paying parking tickets, but they get really mad at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they try to get you.
So like what? Like
they would just, you go to court and be like, hey, can I get these reduced? And they'll reduce it for you, and then you don't pay it because fuck them. And then they like double the original amount. It's crazy.
But then you can reduce it again.
Vicious cycle.
Yeah,
You can reduce it again. I've done that before.
Yeah.
Where they send me that, they threaten you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they threaten you. I got it reduced to like half. Then I didn't pay that half.
Yeah, fuck them, dude.
How many tickets do you think you got
Hundreds.
while you were homeless?
Yeah, hundreds.
holy.
Yeah, it was a lot.
So it makes you think how many homeless people have tickets. Like
I mean,
way
we
more.
all collectively are really staunch in our belief. Fuck San Francisco. Fuck the politicians there. Fuck everyone there.
Yeah.
I mean, the cops, I would say, have been extremely cool compared to other places I've been. When you're smoking weed in your car or something. But yeah, fuck them. All they're there to do is to tax the poor. You know. And they're giving billions of tax breaks to all these tech companies that don't do anything for their local community.
And you were working in the tech industry while you were homeless.
So I was in the tech industry, and then when I became homeless, I had to quit because I just couldn't sustain like working that job and
Being homeless.
Yeah. It was too hard to maintain. It was too expensive.
Stop doing comedy too?
For a little bit, yeah. Because the job I did get, I was working nights all the time and just working at the peak comedy time.
Yeah.
You know, and like I was able to get promoted and, you know, become a manager and shit. And it was really cool. But the job that I had
Did they know you were homeless?
They kind of did, but they didn't believe it.
You were like the Pursuit of Happiness guy, Will Smith.
Yeah, no, totally.
Without the kid. Oh, no, with the kid, yeah.
But she didn't know.
Right.
Like, she still doesn't know. She just thinks that I was always about to go do laundry after my visit with her. Because I had all my shit in the back of the car, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, no, it was just like that, where I had a job, you know, no one at my job knew. I mean, they all knew eventually, but, you know, because we all became kind of close, but it was one of those things where, like, they didn't acknowledge it, you know?
How did you hook up with women at that time, if you did?
Oh,
like,
man.
come back to my place, you know?
The women I hooked up with were all super down to fuck in my car. They knew. Like, it was crazy. There was one who was just like...
They were like, your
oh,
car
yeah.
is so much nicer than my car.
No, for real. One of them was in a women's shelter because she got a little loony when she would drink and would start all these fights and shit and got kicked out of her place. Like, her boyfriend dumped her, you know, all her roommates kicked her out. So she's at this shelter and she was just like, hey, if you want to hang out tonight, like, we can, but if we're going to hang out past 10, like, I'm going to have to stay with you. And I'm like, I live in my car. Like, you know this, right? Like, I live in my car. She's like, that's cool. Is there room for me? I'm like, guess there's going to be, you know?
What kind of car are we talking?
A Prius. It was a Toyota Prius.
A bottle and staying out after 10. Hell yeah, a good time.
Yeah,
Did you get drunk with her?
No, I don't drink.
Oh, you don't drink?
Yeah, I don't drink. I'm not sober though.
Okay.
I'm not like one of
California sober.
I'm not one of these pussies that's like, oh, my life just went out of control. My parents took my trust fund away because of my alcoholism. That's not me. I drank because it gave me a lot of pain.
That's me without the trust fund.
Yeah, no, and I mean, look, if your life is spiraling out of control, like, I have addiction problems, and I can definitely see how it goes, but I just laugh at the people that are like, oh, my parents cut me off.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know, I need to go to rehab. I need to go to this $80,000 rehab before they turn my trust fund on again. Oh, God.
How did like what new perspectives or what things changed from before going homeless to after, bro? Because I can't imagine how that must have changed you.
Oh, yeah, no, it fucked me up. Because it makes me see how much people really despise the homeless. And, like, when I see people, you know, I always think of, like, what was your life like before this? Mm-hmm. You know, like,
what brought you here?
Yeah.
I always think about that.
Yeah. Like, what kind of job did you have? What was your living situation? And what fucked it up? Because for me, if the kind of the double whammy that I got hit with between child support and rent going up, if that didn't happen at the same time, I don't think I would have been homeless ever. You know, I think I would have been able to adjust. But because it hit me at the same time, and it was just like, you know, it was more money than I made to pay these, you know, and I, you know, it was just too much, you know, and it was just like, fuck. And it really showed me, like, oh, fuck, everyone's a paycheck or two away from
being homeless.
You know, I didn't have anyone to fall back on. You know, I don't have parents or anyone to move in with. So it was just like, okay, well, it's just me, you know? And it was crazy. And now when I see homeless people, I can usually tell what level of homeless they are, like how long they've been homeless, based on, like, how much dignity they don't have anymore. Because there's certain things that, like, after a year, it's kind of like, oh, fuck, this is going to last a while. You know, I didn't think it was going to be this long, but it's going to last a while. I mean, over 2 years, you're just like, you know, no one's going to give you a job. You don't have an address. You're off the grid. You know, you haven't bought new clothes that didn't come from a Goodwill. Like, you know, everything's dirty. Everything, you know, all your clothes are faded. Like, you know, and then beyond that, that's when, like, I would say over 2 to 3 years, you're going to get a drug addiction. Like, for sure. Because there's...
Even if that's not what brought you there.
Yeah, even if that's not what brought you there, because... the hopelessness that you feel, there's nothing like it. Like, there's absolutely nothing like it. And there, you know, especially when you're unemployed, you're unemployable, there's nothing to do all day, you know, and you don't want to sit all day feeling like shit, feeling, you know, like you have no hope, no dignity, nothing. So it's like, what do? Oh, well, let me do some meth, because that's going to at least make me feel okay for a bit.
And that's the thing that I think people don't realize. Like, when the pandemic happened, everyone was locked up. They're like, oh, I can't do anything. Homeless people feel like this everywhere.
Yeah.
They're locked up is just, you know, they're locked up, but outside.
They're free. Yeah.
And they're free in a way. But, you know, like Bill Hicks has that quote, if you think you're free, try going anywhere without money.
Yeah, no, it's real. You know,
that's how homeless people live.
Yeah, and you know, especially being in San Francisco, like, I'm really fortunate that I always looked clean. You know, I never looked homeless, but there was one time, it was less than a year in, I was walking to work, and I would park my car at this parking garage in the Tenderloin, because it was only $10 all day, up until like 11:30 at night. And I would park my car there before work, walk to work. And while I was walking through the Tenderloin, I passed by the San Francisco Public Library right there on, what is it, Larkin, or, you know, Larkin Street. And there was a guy who was just handing out KFC to all the homeless people. And so they're on my walking path, but I walked around them because they're just blocking the sidewalk and stuff. And the guy running the whole thing, like, kind of jogs to catch up to me. He's like, hey, sir. And I'm like, oh, what's up? He's like, here. And he gives me this KFC thing that he's been handing out to the homeless. And I was just like, fuck, you know, like, do I look homeless today? Like, am I giving off the vibe, you know? Because, like, in my head, I hadn't...
It was the hopelessness that he saw in your face.
Probably, you know? He's like...
Up our game and shit. We need to do comedy butt naked, right?
I remember this dude. For you, but thank you.
He started saying his goodbyes to his
At the end, I just remember the guy coming up and giving me the check, and he goes, yeah, that'll be our last time.
When the Beatles, you know, wrote the White Album, did they have to, like, pass it in front of some drunks at the...